All right. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of PieceOfThePy. I have with me here the world-renowned VC here, Bleeding Crypto. Check him out on Twitter at Bleeding Crypto. Check out his YouTube, Discord, all that good stuff. We're gonna continue with our analysis from last week, see how it's coming along, and just see how everything's going. Are we still going according to the plan? Or is all the utility for cryptocurrency is going to stop us from hitting even the lower lows? Or basically, you know, I hear a lot, and I used to think this myself, that because there's so much utility and so many new investors coming into the marketplace, that we're not going to go down low anymore. It's just up from here. And I don't, you know, I'm starting to see it from a different light, but I want BC to share with us what he has always told me. And I'm starting to really think that there is this thing called market cycles, and it does not matter really what the utility is, because we're going to have people taking profits. So take it away.
Hey, Pi, how are you? Thank you so much for having me on again. And you are absolutely right. The fact that we're getting adoption has nothing to do with the fact that we are going down, because that has to do everything with market cycles. And I just had a comment, it's funny, from a guy on Twitter that he says, well, with mass adoption, you really can't TA. And I'm just like, no, that's not how it works. Adoption and the fact that it's going down really doesn't have any correlation. People are going to take profit, and that's what the markets are for. The markets are there for profit. People coming in is because of the innovation that these companies continue to build. So with that being said, let's take a look at the chart. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to continue from the chart that we've been talking about for the past few weeks. Right now, I'm zoomed in just a bit on the 4-hour time frame. So let me just adjust here real quick. Let me start off by the 12-hour time. There we go. So you guys will probably recognize this. My target, it's in here. It's the same one that we've been talking about. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm gonna go back to the 4-hour time frame. I don't normally look at lower time frames, but the fact that we're dropping the way we are, there are levels of support that I'm looking at. And when I zoom in, I'm able to see the real picture of what's going on. And I don't like the fact that we're below all EMAs. When you guys get to know my system and how I trade and the tools that I use, EMAs are a big part of what makes me bullish or bearish short term. And even though I'm bearish at the moment, for a longer term, that has to do more with market cycles. But in this particular analysis today, I am looking to see if there's any hope for a continuation. So let me zoom out real quick, just to reiterate what we talked about before. I'm hoping, and I'm still rooting for us to get to the top of this box. So that's where my mindset is. In my analysis, I would like to see it hit the top of this box, but I also want to see it come back down and completely retrace like we've had in the previous years, like we've discussed before. Now, with that in mind, guys, let's go back to the 1-hour time frame so that I can now tell you what I'm seeing here that I don't like. For the fact that like I said, I'm short-term bullish for this rally. We are below all EMAs, and look what's going on right now. The 200 EMA, the highest EMA, is bear crossing over the 300 EMA. That is not a good sign. And as these EMAs continue to fall, it puts a lot of down pressure on the price action. It makes it very difficult for it to basically turn around and go back up. So we need to watch that clearly. We need to watch that real closely. And these smaller time frames now help me identify if we're seeing a turnaround on the short term. Because in the previous videos, you guys have seen me use the 12-hour or the daily time frame. Now you're seeing me watch the 1-hour time frame. So I want you guys to understand my mindset behind using those small time frames. I want to try to see if I can identify anything that can give the bulls some hope, some support, something that'll get us a turnaround. So there's not much, unfortunately, on the 1-hour time frame. Let me go to the 4-hour time frame. 4-hour time frame, unfortunately, guys, look at this. We just broke and opened below the last EMA. Not looking good either. The only thing that I can see right now real quick is this here. The area where she's at now is actually prior resistance. There we go. It's prior resistance in the past, resistance, support here, and we're holding on to that. So that's one of the things that I do, guys. When I'm looking at analysis, as I'm looking at my EMAs failing to support, I now go back to the original method of finding support and resistance, and that's through the price action, through the candles. Is there an identifying mark? And you can, even if you don't have a line, guys, look, let me just delete this real quick. You can kind of see an invisible line. If you guys are trained to look for that, you'll see it really quickly. If you're not, don't worry, guys. You will get it eventually. The more time you put into it, the more those areas become really clear to you, where you don't even need to draw so many lines on your chart. They're just there. So right now, we do have support being held on previous resistance. So it looks decent there, as far as hopefully finding a bottom of this retracement here. Again, I'm with you guys. I know 90% of you guys listening are still hopium. I'm with you guys. I'm trying to help you guys out there. I'm trying to find something that you could head off to the weekend and feel good that we're going to continue this wonderful rally. 12-hour time frame, again, guys, don't like it. Look, we're below all EMAs. Now, this is the only thing different between this one and the 4-hour. You see the difference, guys? We actually opened below, where the 12-hour, we're technically not done with this candle for another 2 hours and 54 minutes. So we still have hope to close above the 100 EMA. However, if she closes below, that is not a good sign for the bulls. It puts even more downward pressure on the price action, because when it closes below, it's another hurdle that it has to face now when it tries to go back up. And you've got these EMAs coming from the top, converging down, that as these cross, will give it even more sell pressure on that price action. So it's not looking good there. On the daily, kind of the same thing, guys. Look at all the EMAs. She's below the EMA. We still have 2 hours and 53 minutes left. So I am hoping that on the last hour or two, we can come through and get that up. I've seen it happen plenty of times, where she'll leave a wick and she'll close right above the very last EMA. And if we can see that happen on this candle closing, I would feel much better for a continuation. If we don't.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, maybe we can look at the volume too. How's the volume doing?
Yeah, let's look at that. There we go. The volume is kind of flat. It's kind of flat, but you know what? It's not too bad. Let me look at the lower time frame just to see. Yeah, that sell-off volume is just not. That sell-off volume is not looking very good. Unfortunately, let me look at the MACD real quick, guys. Let me go here to the 12-hour. See the momentum, guys. See the momentum? It's just not looking good. Let me go back to the 1 hour. I didn't look at the MACD on the. That looks awful. That's a double top, guys. A double top on the momentum is just as bad as a double top on the price action. That is not a good sign. That is definitely not something I would have wanted to see. So let's just ignore it like that never happened. Like that can never happen, guys. No, but you know, we have to be realistic, guys. Because here's the thing. If you guys are in a position So if you guys were fortunate enough to load up in here and you're writing this, you want to pay attention.
Yeah.
You don't want to close your eyes and wish for the best, because guess what? You're going to ride your profits all the way back down.
Yeah.
Why not secure your profits, take them off the table, and you know what? If we turn back around, rebuy. It's better to rebuy it and miss a few percent than to ride this all the way down and have nothing to show for all your hard work. That is what most people do, unfortunately. It's very easy for people to buy, to spend their money, but it's never easy for them to take profit.
Yeah.
It's all in here, guys. It's all it's all in your mind. And unfortunately, that's just the reality of crypto. So I don't have any good news for the bulls at the moment. The weekly time frame is the only thing that is above the last EMA. It's barely hanging on to by a thread on that. So I am hoping that we could come through with volume. However, realize the time of the week that it is. It's the end of the week.
And
there's not a lot of volume on the in the weekends. One of the guys that I like to follow that I respect very much, his TA is really knowledgeable guy, is Nebraska Gooner. And if you follow him, guys, you know he don't trade on the weekends. He doesn't care how Saturdays and Sundays. He's like, I am not trading weekend volume. It's for a reason, guys. They don't want to give back all the hard work that they put in during the week just to give it back on the weekend. So you want to be real careful that you don't fall into that pattern. And the way things are looking right now, besides the weekly where everything is below the last EMA, there's unfortunately not really good news at the moment, Pi. So bearish outlook for me for the short term until the bulls can come to the table, bring up that volume, get us above those EMAs, then I'll be more hopeful. But for right now, even though I'm overall bearish, now I'm short-term bearish as well, unfortunately.
And you know what, I feel like last year at the same time, well, not this, April tends to be kind of like that anyway, but last year when Bitcoin conference was going on, we had a small kind of a pump at the time, but then before the conference was over, we were heading back down as well. I don't know what happened, and we have the same kind of thing going on at this time too, with the conference going on. The announcement of it kind of gave us a little bit of a ride, and I mean, you know, maybe there's nothing to that, but I do recall that last year.
There is actually not just last year. There's actually historical data. Another guy that I follow, 360 trader, he pointed that out before the conference on one of his posts. He goes, "Hey guys, don't forget, buy the rumor, sell the news happens every time we have the Bitcoin conference, and it's been going on since I entered crypto. It's been like that since I entered crypto. Leading up to the event, Bitcoin is on the move. The moment the event is over, we get that flush back out. People just sell the news. It wasn't a big I think people buy it in anticipation for some great revelation. And when that revelation doesn't happen, they just dump it. Also, the more it happens, guys, remember what we are as analysts. We try to identify patterns. So if your job is to identify patterns, and you see and recognize a pattern that leading up to these events, the market's going to run, people are going to, experienced traders will play those runs. And the more it happens, the more validation it has, and the more money comes in, and the higher these pumps are going to get. But then what happens? So is the sell-off. Again, they're taking profit. This is part of the market. And this, again, going back to Pi's original comment, it has nothing to do with innovation or adoption. It has to do with people like you and I that are trying to make a living selling these candles and this price action and the psychology and the emotion. We're betting that people are going to get excited, so we buy it in anticipation that when it gets to the event, it's at its highest. We start scaling out, we take profit, and we rinse and we rinse and repeat. So unfortunately, it's playing out again like it has for the past, I want to say 6 years now that I've been in crypto. It's played out that same way. So, but let's see if it can hold, guys. There's still some hope. We've got almost 3 hours left. We got 3 hours for this candle to close. Let's see where it closes. If it closes below, not good news. If it closes above, like I mentioned before, I will be a lot more optimistic.
Yeah, considering, I mean, we've had announcements of other countries that are going to be adopting Bitcoin for currency. And yet, you know, we're still seeing this. So maybe there's some hope.
Yes, I hope. I
Yes.
hope there's hope.
You got to always have hope. You got to always
Yes.
have hope.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So do we want to look at some of those altcoins? Do you want to add anything else to the Bitcoin analysis?
No, I think that's it for now, guys. We all know what to watch for, so we have a few more hours to see how it's going to play out. So let's watch out for that. And let's see. Let's look at we'll look at Ethereum. Ethereum is didn't quite go as high as I originally anticipated. Here's a chart from last week, and let me go back to the daily time frame. Okay, so this is, remember the comment that we made here, guys, that I left this comment from last week's video? Did we bounce off the 200 EMA? We got close to it. Look at that. This is the bounce that I was thinking we would at least hit it, and we didn't. We got close to it, and we did bounce. Unfortunately, not enough steam. Again, the bulls are getting tired. They're getting tired. So that is, again, a little concerning. Just because I have this target, guys, here, let me let me clarify something. It doesn't mean that it has to go to there. This target is simply saying that, in my opinion, if we are really, really bullish, this is about the top that I expect it to go. But anywhere between the bottom of this line and the top of this line is where I'm expecting Bitcoin to go. And that's exactly where she went. She went inside of the line. And to address some of the comments that I can already hear people making on Twitter, well, BC, you're giving yourself a $9,000 buffer. That doesn't seem fair. I don't write the rules, guys. The price action tells me where the bottom of the range is and where the top of the range is. So I do understand that I'm giving myself a $9,000 buffer, but I am not setting those boundaries. The market is setting those boundaries. So I just want to make sure I clarify that, because if you were expecting the top of this and it doesn't hit, I don't want to be blamed for it. I merely said that somewhere in here is where I can see a rally finishing out. And unfortunately, I don't know if this is the end of this rally, but if we don't continue, you guys already know we went inside the box and we didn't quite make it there. Now, you know what? One thing that I just noticed while I was looking at this is actually not it's not ideal, but again, I'm trying to not be just overly bearish. I'm trying to see if maybe, guys, if we can save ourselves and get on top, if the bulls can bring it and close above this last EMA, we may have a potential for a move to the upside. This isn't an ideal structure, though. A flag setup normally doesn't have such an ugly breakdown the way it has here and goes all the way to the last EMA. Typically, when I look at a flag pattern, I'll see it come down to like the 30 EMA and then bounce, but this is a clear breakdown. But I know I'm stretching, all right? I know I'm stretching, but I'm trying to give you guys something. This is maybe the only thing that I can see positive, so that this way people don't say that I'm always so negative. I'm not. I'm just trying. They do. So I get so many DMs and so many guys, why are you always so negative? Why do you hate Bitcoin? I'm like, I don't, man, but I'm not going to just give you what you want to hear. So I'm trying to be as neutral as possible. So there's my only hope right now for a continuation is two things: the breakout of this and us holding this bottom range. Let's go back to Ethereum. So Ethereum didn't quite make it to the top of where I anticipated to go on this prior resistance. She fell short of it. And actually, you know what, guys? Let me do this. Look at this. Check this out, guys. Look how cool this is. Look at this. See where she topped out? Look at that. Look how cool that is. Exactly where she found resistance. That is really cool. I love when I discover things like this, because it's just, to me, it's fascinating, guys. It is fascinating. The billions of dollars that get exchanged inside of an asset, to be able to draw a line from a support back in December 30th, almost 4 months ago, and then hit that exact same line. I don't know about you guys, but that really excites me to see how well TA works out.
It is.
It's really cool. It's really cool. Yeah, so I like seeing stuff like that. So right now, guys, Ethereum is actually looking, in my opinion, looking much better than Bitcoin. And here's why. Look, what do you see, guys? We held the 200 EMA, where Bitcoin just completely fell apart. Ethereum didn't fall apart. Ethereum simply retraced to a very strong EMA and held very well. Now, one of the things I do notice is those who follow me know that I look at the 9 EMA closely. I also touched on that last week on the relationship between the price action and the 9 EMA. And look, guys, remember what I talked about last week? If you don't remember, please watch last week's video and look what she's doing. She's hitting that 9 EMA and she's rejecting. Remember we talked about the support, how we kept above the 9, and now look at that. Right on that 9, we get that rejection. So this is going to be the challenge for Ethereum to get above the 9 EMA on the daily time frame if we want to see a continuation. If not, the 9 EMA is going to cross the 200 and it's going to push that price action further down. And unfortunately, you have the 50, the 100, and the 30 converging so closely together that if she loses this area here, it's not going to be good for Ethereum. And of course, if Bitcoin loses it as well, automatically this will come down because that's just the way the markets react. Other than that, Pi, I don't have any other alts.
I had a couple alts that people had left comments for.
Shoot away, and I'll take a look at it.
CHZ.
CHZ, Chili's?
Yep.
I think. Okay, here we go. Let me go to.
So we had a total of 3, and I guess because they went ahead and left the comments and listened and didn't throw it on Twitter, maybe we can briefly look at all 3 if you don't mind.
Yes, I definitely will. Okay, so Chili's here on the 12-hour time frame is hanging on by a thread on the last EMA. Not looking very good. You can see where she followed Bitcoin's action. The rest of the market kind of did the same thing. When Bitcoin started to come down, Chili's came down as well, and it is holding. However, it is not looking good. Same thing. Look at the EMAs. Look at the bear crossing. We have a potential bear crossing between the 9 and the 50 EMA coming up. If that happens, that may knock it out of the last EMA as support where we're personally holding, and it won't look very good for this token. More than likely, if she loses that, this would be her next area of support that I would be looking for. It would be right here at the 21.61 area for Chili's. Let me look at just the weekly real quick here. We're going to lose that curve. Let me look at the 4-hour time frame. Okay, she's holding the 300 EMA. She's holding that. MACD looks good. So the momentum of Chili's on the lower time frame is still there. But look at the volume, guys. Look at the oscillator. Let me just zoom in. Here, you can start seeing the beginning of a breakdown. You notice how these volume oscillators are getting smaller and smaller. So that volume, that momentum is starting to come down. And you can see it a little bit more clear on the larger time frames, but I was hoping that the smaller time frames, like I mentioned before, can give me some signal that we may continue, but unfortunately, not very well. We did have a potential double bottom here on the MACD, but it would have been more so if this little crease here could have went up here. But the fact that she went back down, did another crease, and now this is flattening out. Not much hope that I see really for this token for the time being until we can see some resolution with Bitcoin's price action. What would be the next token?
We had Woo.
Which one?
Woo, WOO.
Okay, never heard of this.
No, I don't. I just briefly heard of it.
Okay, all right, here we go. I've got something here. Okay, this is a very new coin, very, very new token. Not a lot of data, unfortunately. Let me see here. I can come up with just. Give me a second, guys. I'm just basically when I have a coin like this that doesn't have a lot of data. The only thing I can do as an analyst, I'm trying to find some points where maybe there is some sort of resistance and support being founded. And right away, just looking at that whole structure, I kind of saw something like maybe a triangle, and we did find some points that will validate the top of this triangle here and the bottom of here. We did fall briefly below it, but you can see how we came right back up and we held it. So let me look at the MACD. MACD is not looking very good, unfortunately. Really, guys, I don't have much on this. There's not a lot of data. This is going to be really highly dependent on the market overall. In my opinion, I think that if Bitcoin runs, this may continue and may break out of here. But if it doesn't, obviously, this will come back, break through the bottom of this upward support that it's been holding since what is this? Since February 23rd, when it established the support and it was able to hit this first point here on the support line. Hopefully it can hold that. If it doesn't, like I mentioned, guys, then it starts getting a little ugly. You're going to start having to look at prior resistance as your new support. So let me take a look at this here. This would be my next area where I'd be looking at. And then I'd be looking at this here. And these areas here, guys, are just good to look at and keep in mind so that if you're in a position, you don't want to hold it all the way down, guys. Secure some profits depending on where you got in. Hopefully you're staying in profit when you get out. That's the object of the game, is take profit, make money. So these are the key areas of supports on the way down. Obviously, this being the very bottom. Once she breaks there, she's in price discovery, and there's not really much we can do after that. What else do you got for me?
This is the last one, STX. STX.
Oh, XTX, okay. X USD. We'll use finance. Let's see here. Okay, there's some data to here. Let me see. Okay, good. Okay, so we got some structure. Let me take the MACD out. Let me take a look at, let me put a fib on here. Okay, we got a nice move down to 886, my favorite zone. We bounce off, we went up here. For those who are wondering why I put my fib here and why didn't I put it here, is because this wick, AKA shadow, to me represents a swing fail. Had this been an actual candle bar, that would have changed the dynamics of how I would be analyzing this particular market structure. But the fact that we came up here, we swing failed here, tried it again a third time, and then that's when she pretty much just gave it all back. Most of it back, and look where she lands, right on the golden ratio, right on 618. So right now, guys, it's gonna be really up to the market on as far as Bitcoin is concerned. If we're gonna see this run, she is not looking good. She's had 3 opportunities to break the previous high, has been smacked down every single time. This one being the ugliest one. Look at the size of this wick, and doesn't look, there's really nothing bullish about it. Let me see if I can find some sort of all right, this is something to look out for. Not much data. I don't really like this point, to be honest with you. I want to find something in here, into the bottom of here. I feel better like that. There we go. Okay, so we got this established here. We confirmed it on this drop. We confirmed it on here. So this might be a line, guys, that I would just keep an eye. If you're in this coin and you want to, and you've been writing it from the bottom and you haven't taken profit, take a look at this line. Take a look at this line. If she loses this line and closes below here, I would take profit. I would take profit. So I'm not sure, the person who requested this coin, what your situation is, where you're at. Did you buy in the bottom here? Did you buy the top? Yeah, or the top. I don't know. I'm hoping you didn't buy this and are wondering. where to get out. It comes to a point where it's sometimes just better to hold it. It really is, honestly, guys. If you're the guy who bought this here and you haven't taken profit and you're here, I mean, at this point, guys, really, the way I would approach this, my strategy would be to dollar cost average and lower this. That would be my very first thing. I'm not going to take what is this? This is the high here at 320, less than that's like a 65% loss. Why do that? If you love this coin that much that you bought the top, there's got to be a reason.
Yeah.
That reason shouldn't have changed. So if you were a responsible trader and you did your research and you understood the project, you said, wow, this thing has so much potential, I'm willing to buy the top, there's no reason why you wouldn't be excited to buy $1.26 and automatically lower your $3.20 entry. Let me give you a quick example, guys, just for new people who don't understand this concept. So let's just say, for instance, you bought $1,000 worth here at, we're going to use 335 divided by 3.35. So that gave you 298.5 tokens. All right, 298. Let me write this down real quick here. Okay, so we got 298, and this is the strategy that I would take. Because a lot of people always ask that, BC, what would you do if you were in my position? All right, let me tell you what I would do in my position. Now, I would then buy. Let's say if you can afford it, you buy another $1,000 at a 60% discount. So if you bought another $1,000 and you divide it by 1.26, that would now give you 793 tokens, 0.65. Okay, so now what you do, guys, is check this out. You're gonna take the 298.50 plus 793.65. That means that you now have 1,092 tokens. And if you factor in that you put $2,000 in, give me 1 second, $2,000 divided by 1,092. Your average buy, guys, is now $1.83. You see the power of that, guys? Imagine that. You bought $1,000 at $3.35. By just matching that order all the way down here, you now lowered that buy from 335. You cut it almost in half. Almost in half. You're down at now this becomes right here becomes your break even. Let me do this right here. I'm gonna snap a line and I'm just gonna paint this gold. So this now becomes your break even, which means that if you bought another 1,000 coins right here, when this starts going back up, the moment you hit this line, you now have your $2,000. You have your $1,000 from up here, and you have the $1,000 that you invested down here. That's the power of dollar cost average. Guys, I have a private Discord group. This is what I teach. This is what I do every day. I even have these master classes that I offer for a little bit more medium to advanced traders. I have a master class, a 30-day program, but that's something you want to do a little later on. But at least if you want to learn, guys, and you don't have the time to do it on your own, or you don't have, it basically comes down to time. You don't have time to really study on your own. Give me a shot. Take a look at it. It's going to be the best $125 a month that you're going to spend. It really is, guys. When you're talking about spending thousands of dollars in the market and you don't want to learn how to do this yourself, or at least understand when to buy, don't buy the tops of these. Understand the setups, let the price come to you, let the setup come to you. Basic things like that. Those $125 a month that you spend are going to be way worth it, and they're going to pay themselves off 10 times off. So if you guys are interested, bleedingcrypto.com. And if you don't, that's okay. One day you're either going to do one or two things. You're going to get it on your own and you're going to start making money, or you're going to lose it all and walk away. That's unfortunately a sad reality in crypto. There's only really those two outcomes.
Yeah, it's very true. And it's very easy to FOMO into coins. I mean, that people are telling you about, and you end up buying the big green candle up. And I mean, we've been there. We've been there. We're not here to judge you. It definitely happens, but it's nice to have a community that you can like bounce things off of. Like, hey, I'm looking at this coin and I'm really wanting to buy it. What do you think? Is this a good place to buy? If you aren't sure, you can ask that. You can be on the Discord and ask, and somebody will be able to give you some direction. Like BC can give you some direction. Like, no, don't do this. This doesn't, why don't you wait? You should wait for this. And then that way you just get some confirmation, right? You always want to have a check and balance, because it's super easy in this space to get carried away by emotions. It is. It's designed for that almost. It's like to get you all, oh my God, I'm going to miss out. I'm going to miss out. And you just jump into some coin because everybody's talking all hype about it. So I would highly recommend you do, consider getting in the Discord if that's something that, if you're planning on being in crypto and planning to trade, you should do that. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, just guys, again, if you want me to take a look at your coin, leave a comment in the YouTube channel. And here's I'll do one even better. If you're stuck in a token and you're desperate, you don't know what to do, give me the token, post a token on the YouTube, give me the entry. You don't have to give me the amount of money you invested. Give me your entry and let's take a look at it. Let's analyze, let's see what we can do to somehow make it easier for you, either to get out and take your losses, or to do what I just showed you. Dollar cost average, come up with a plan, come up with a strategy. But I will only do this if you leave your comment in the YouTube. If you post it on Twitter, it's gonna go unnoticed and it's not gonna get done. So something to keep in mind.
Wow, you guys. I mean, seriously, can this get any better? If you're stuck in a coin and you're looking for a way out, you're going to have somebody that has been in the space for so long doing this, has mastered it. I mean,
and has been there. I've been stuck in a coin plenty of times. Yes. Plenty of times.
Give you some options of what to do. I mean, seriously, this no-brainer. Leave it in the comments. We appreciate you guys being here today, listening and allowing us your time to give you this Bitcoin analysis and the coins. And we appreciate BC for being here. I know you got a busy life. He's a busy grandpa. He's got
yes.
he's got his hands full.
Yes. But I'll always take the time for your show, Pi. So next week, definitely we'll get together. We'll review some of those coins. And guys, it'll be completely anonymous. We're not gonna call you out. No. You just leave it there on the comments. And like I said, no dollar amount. Just let's remember, guys, this is not a competition. No. We're not in competition. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. There's nothing that anyone that's watching this has done that I haven't done 10 times larger. So just think about that. Nothing at all. I think I told Pi this a while back. I am one of the best traders for one reason, because I've done so many things wrong that I don't think there's much for me to do wrong. So I'm able to remember that, because it hurts when you lose money. It hurts when you're holding something under. And I fortunately, I have a very good memory. And I don't know if this is a good thing or not, but I beat myself up a lot. So when I do something wrong in trading, when I started, I would really beat myself over it to the point where I would never, I don't think I could ever forget doing this specific thing. So that this way it would help me advance, because when I would fall into the same pattern, and it's very easy, guys, to fall into the same pattern, you stop yourself. You're like, are you kidding me? Are you going to do it again? That's how you lost X amount of money last time. So when you have that experience, guys, and you take those losses to heart, you don't just discount them, but you learn from them, guys, you're going to become incredible traders. Because you saw my system, guys. It's simple: EMAs, support and resistance, market structure. It's simple. There's no science. 90% of it is right here, guys. That's all it is. Once you cross that barrier, it's going to be just easy as pie.
I like that. And I do want to echo what, BC just said. You guys, I know it's embarrassing sometimes and it feels that way. It feels like you're the only one who's made this mistake and you're just keeping it all into yourself and beating yourself up over it. But if I could say anything, is that we've all been there. That thing that you feel like you're the only one who's done it is a lie.
Yeah, you know what? Let me do. I'm going to share my screen real quick. I want to point something out right here. You see this candle pie?
Yeah.
You see this wick? This wasn't one person who bought this.
Right.
This wasn't one person. This was hundreds, if not thousands of people. So if you think you're alone, if you think you're the only one who bought it at 335, no, guys, you're not the only one. So if you're that guy, you know that you have a big group of people that also bought along with you. And like Pi says, no need to be embarrassed. There's honestly, I can't think of anything that you have done. I guess there's one thing that I've never done and I'll never do. Never give my seed phrase out.
Yes.
So, unfortunately, there are people who've done that.
Yeah.
So there are a few things that I haven't done, but when it comes to trading and making mistakes and not reading something correctly, we've all done it.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, guys, even people like myself that can look at a chart, identify setups, we still lose money. It doesn't go our way. Just because we can identify a setup, it doesn't mean it's going to play out. It just means that meets the right conditions for us to go into a trade. And the moment we go into that trade, the risk starts. Doesn't matter how many years experience, how good you are to trade, how much money you have, it can still easily go the other way. And that's why, as long as you have more wins than losses, that's all we look for. We don't try to say, oh, I got a 90% ratio, I got a 70% ratio. Because you know what? Sometimes I'll have weeks where I don't have one loss. And then another week, I have nothing but losses. So you can't really measure yourself in percentages. You just got to do your best on every trade. You can't give yourself any more stress by saying, I have to make X amount of money every day, or I cannot go below 70% win ratio, because you don't need that extra stress in your life. You don't need that pressure. Trading is hard enough. The only thing you have to do is find a rule set that works, stick to that rule set, because that's the only thing that's going to keep you from not using your emotions. If your rule set is done, no matter how excited or how upset you are that day, rule sets are met, you go into a trade. When your rule set is met for when to exit, you automatically do it. You don't think about it. It's just a push of a button. If it continues to go, and that happens to all of us, that's okay. That's okay. If it continues to go, you can have a strategy. I'm going to leave a certain amount in. If it continues to go, you're happy because you took profit, and you're happy because it kept on going. So guys, it's all about strategy. And that's what Pi and I are trying to help you guys realize. And that's why we take time out of our day to help you guys so that you could understand that you're not alone. If you're upset, if you lost money, if you're holding underwater, you're not alone. There's people like me, like Pi, Nebraska Gooner. There's a lot of people, Castillo Trading, a lot of good people out there on Twitter that are willing to put their time because we're empathetic to where you're at. We've been there, and we're grateful that we're no longer there, and we're grateful, and we want to give back. People always ask me, Pi, BC, with so much money you make, why do you bother? You know what, guys? When you're in a position that you help other people and you touch other people's lives, you'll understand. It won't be a question. It's a desire to. It feels so good and validating that you're able to give back. People always hear that phrase, "give back to the community," but until you do that, guys, you won't get the validation, and you won't understand that feeling until you actually put forth the foot and you give back to the community. And this is what me and Pi are trying to do. We're trying to give back.
It's so true. I mean, there's honestly no better feeling than being able to learn something, and then after you've learned it and mastered it, like to be able to share that with others. the mistakes and to, to share those and to stop others from making the same mistakes, or even, just telling you guys that it's okay that you made these mistakes and help you out.
Sometimes that's all people need to hear.
Yeah.
Sometimes, just hear that it's going to be okay. That's going to be okay.
Yeah, because that's the last thing you want, is to be all alone when you made a mistake and you're just leaving, like living with that.
Yes, absolutely.
So, well, I think that's all that we have for you guys today. We so appreciate you guys for being here. We appreciate BC for being here and taking the time out of his life. And we're still planning to do that DeFi series for you guys. So we're working on that behind the scene. I was away to Miami and BC had a vacation too. So we're just coming back together.
Exactly. And the project that I want to talk to you guys about, the launch got pushed forward. So timing just wasn't right, but we will get to it.
Yes, we sure will. And we can't wait. You guys are going to be very, very happy when you get to that and talk about it for sure. So
Absolutely.
Have an amazing weekend, everyone. It's so good to be back and doing this for you guys. And we'll be back with another episode next week.
Thank you, Pi. Have a great weekend.
You too. Take care.